Hello, everybody. Great to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me, Martin. And I guess most of you have also, in terms of program, have expected my colleague and one of our co-founders, Mars, here today. Unfortunately, he had to apologize as well of not being here. But there was a great business opportunity coming up, which, well, business always goes first, as we say. So he really had to go there. And he asked me to fall in for him, so I hope I can deliver a good message from Hardt as well today. For everybody who don't know me, my name is Oomens-Meer. I'm the I'm the business development lead from Hardt Hyperloop, and at the company right now for about 6 months, so quite new, also quite new to the industry. On the other side, I already know Hardt since the beginning. I know the guys when they were still students and when they started up the company. So for me, it's also really exciting to be part of this new movement right now and to be able to, well, hopefully help the company, but also the Hyperloop development to accelerate and to grow. But today, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about creating a hyperconnected Europe. You've heard this before. I know Mars has been talking about hyperconnected Europe already a year ago when he was in Berlin. But there is new things going on, new things happening, and I thought it's good to give you an update on it. And creating a hyperconnected Europe, I think what's the most important, and I've just heard it also with a lot of the speeches before, is realizing Hyperloop together. We cannot do it on our own. We need the other players in the Hyperloop industry. We need other stakeholders like governments and industry. And it's really, really important that we involve them right from the beginning and as early as possible. So let's just jump in it. Also, this map you have seen before from the Hyperloop development program, which you've probably all heard before, private-public partnership between the public sector, the industry, wide industry, so not only the Hyperloop industry, but also construction, engineering, energy, and so on and so on. And also research institutes like Hochschule Emden-Leer. Yeah, sorry, Lucas. They did a study last year to come up with a potential network scenario for Europe based on aviation data, passenger aviation data. So this network came out of there. And what we started before is asking cities and regions to support us to really bring this network to life, to realize this network for the future. But the biggest question is now, how do we involve these supporters that have already signed up to support us? It's more than 15 cities by now and regions. How do we involve them? And where do we start? Because it's a big network, and we all know it's not going to happen that tomorrow we're going to build like hundreds of kilometers, but we need to start in smaller places and be more, focus more. So what we did actually, we looked at all the aviation data, and we looked at the network scenario that came out of that study, and we looked which is really the most busiest area, highest travel volumes of the aviation passengers. And it's probably not really surprising that exactly the area in this small square came out of it. It's also close to our home, which is good for us because it's between the Netherlands, Belgium, north of France, Germany, North Rhine-Westphalia. It's really one of the most densely populated areas. It's one of the major industrial areas in Europe. So somehow it makes sense if we're going to look at a first network scenario, like a smaller network scenario, to work with this area. It's between the S of London and Paris, Amsterdam and Brussels, and then all the way to North Rhine-Westphalia. So that's where we started, and we came up with the first idea of a first potential route concept connecting this area. And what we wanted is we wanted to work on a complementary scenario for this area, complementary to high-speed rail. So we don't want to duplicate what's already there, because that's not going to work in the world of competition right now. But we wanted to really add to the possibilities that are there right now, and to upgrade the existing public transport network. And if you look at the orange lines, those are existing high-speed railway lines right now. And the blue line, that's what we came up with, because the connections that we have with high-speed rail right now is from London to Paris. It's more or less north to south. The connection between Amsterdam and Brussels, well, here it goes to Antwerp, because between Antwerp and Brussels is not really high speed anymore. So that's why it's not on the map. And then in Germany, you go between Cologne and Frankfurt. Those are all north-south connections. You don't really have any west-east, east-west connections. There is nothing yet in high-speed rail. So we came up with this route scenario, and we thought, well, what's going to be next? We contacted all those cities along this line, and we engaged with them. We thought, well, this is a concept we came up with an Hyperloop route. What do you think about it? How could your public transport systems, how could they evolve with this Hyperloop connection in the mix? How can you upgrade your own existing networks? And they all came back to us and they all said, well, you know, we want to talk, we want to discuss this. And actually, next week we have an appointment with the ministry in Belgium, with the Ministry of Transport in Belgium, of Flanders, actually, I have to say, because Belgium is then split into half. Because we've already interacted with all of these cities. They were all positive, but especially the Belgian ones, they need the national government or the regional government to be involved. So we will be working with most of these cities now, setting up studies to really look at the potential of how, with this Hyperloop connection in place, not now, but in the future, how they could evolve and improve their own public transportation system for the future. So I think this is one of those ways how we can engage by just setting up a potential route as a discussion starter, how we can really engage with the cities and the areas to involve them to bring Hyperloop further. You need them on board. I mean, I've heard it before, ministries, regions, cities. They also need to be launching customers in the end, but you need to involve them. You need to tell them and educate them what Hyperloop can bring to them in the model shift and in the system. So this is one of the target groups which we are involving right now. But there's another one, and I've also heard it before a lot of times. Infrastructure managers and railway operators. They're really, really important. They're really important also because they often see us more as competitors than as partners. We are scaring them because new technology, a lot of possibilities, and they see a big threat to their own business model, which they have right now. So we need to convince them actually that we are complementary and that there is a win-win in the whole development of Hyperloop. And that's what we did. And we started obviously also in the Netherlands. Well, we worked already with RFI, we worked with Deutsche Bahn, we did some studies together. But we really started now on a national level, working with NS and ProRail. And to be really honest, when we invited them first time, they were really skeptical. They were like, nah, you know, Hyperloop, that's something like, it's a nice story, but it's never gonna work. We invited them over, we invited whole departments over. We told them what the possibilities were. They left really interested and really open to talk further. We set up workshops with them, and with ProRail, we even decided to do a route study together. We made a route from all the way in the north to all the way in the south in the Netherlands. This route is actually a route which is not duplicating existing railway, almost not duplicating, only a little bit in the south. And we said, let's do a study together and see how this route in the mix with the existing public transport system can really evolve and can solve problems that we have right now in every country, but also in the Netherlands, in the existing railway infrastructure. And to be really honest, the results were so great that ProRail asked us to write a paper together and bring all these results and publicly present all these results together next month in Frankfurt during the CVS conference. CVS conference, yeah, it's called a conference, sorry. And they were really astounded themselves. They really didn't think that, yeah, they would think this way. But I think that's why we really need to engage. We really need to take railway operators and infrastructure providers on our hands and educate them and help them to think together with us, so that they can also be in charge of when really Hyperloop rolls out in one of those countries. They can also control it. They can also be part of it, and they can add it into their business models as well. And the funny thing is even that they gave us a quote, which I think is really great. We were really happy about this quote, and I mean, here it says only the Netherlands, but hoping going forward and talking to more of the railway operators and infrastructure providers, we hope we will have more of those quotes. But the Hyperloop is a transportation system that has the potential to be an unprecedented game changer within the mobility landscape of the Netherlands. From somebody that was so skeptical in the beginning to getting this quote, I think we've reached something. And this is something which we want to do further. We want to do this for the Hyperloop industry. It doesn't have anything to do with Hardt, but it's really for Hyperloop. And we think, let's realize Hyperconnected Europe together. That's how we have to go. That's what we have to think. And if anybody of you knows countries, cities, railway operators, infrastructure managers that we should talk to and that we can really help with getting Hyperloop into their thinking and into their system, then please let's talk and yeah, let's do it together. Thank you very much.